Welcome to the Deep Dive from the Radio Podcast. I'm your host.
And I'm your expert for today.
And our mission, well, it's pretty laser-focused. We are doing a deep dive into the absolutely necessary strategies for YouTube content and creation in 2026.
Right.
This is basically your roadmap based on some hard data from recent friend analysis on how you, as a creator, need to adapt.
You really do. And this is a non-negotiable conversation where, we're past the point where small changes work.
Mm-hmm.
What got you success in 2023 or even early 2024 is now, frankly, being penalized by platforms and just ignored by audiences.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Where do we even start? I feel like we have to begin with the fundamental shift in who is watching and who is creating.
Exactly.
We're talking about Gen Z, right? That 14 to 24 demographic.
Yeah, and they're not passive viewers, not at all. They are digitally native creators. The sources show something like 66% of this group agrees they have big impact on what people are talking about online.
They're setting the tone.
They are. They grew up expecting to participate in their entertainment. I mean, think about games like Minecraft or Roblox.
You don't just play them.
No, you don't. There are platforms for creation.
Mm-hmm.
And that just blurs the line between consumer and creator, which is why they spend 54% more time watching user-generated content than the average consumer.
And all that demand for dynamic, participatory content has kind of crystallized into this new aesthetic, which the reports are calling creative maximalism.
That's the term, creative maximalism.
Well, okay, that term, it kind of suggests chaos, right?
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's a structured chaos. What are the actual instructions here for a creator?
It's highly structured, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the new fluency. It basically breaks down into 4 elements. The first one is audiovisual complexity.
Okay.
So because this generation processes really intricate visuals from things like anime and high-speed gaming, their content needs to pack layered information and action into a single frame. Hyperpace editing, multiple reaction boxes.
Text overlays that give you jokes and context all at once.
Exactly. All at the same time.
So if I'm a creator, let's say, making a cooking video, how do I apply that? The hyper-paced editing and layering without it just looking...
Messy.
Yeah, messy and just overwhelming.
Right. And you do that by making sure every single moment delivers value.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just, a smooth shot of you stirring sauce,
Right.
you might show the stirring and a close-up of the texture changing and a joke text overlay about a burnt smell. You see, it's dense storytelling.
The ultimate example of that has to be Skibidi Toilet.
Right.
The lore is just, it's all visual. You either get it or you don't.
You either get it or you don't. And that leads to the second element, which is narrative co-creation.
The audience wants to be involved.
They expect to be an active partner.
Yeah.
Your content can't just be a finished product. It has to be valuable. It has to encourage fan art, fan lore, theories.
So you're talking about things like The Backrooms, a whole horror universe built by the internet.
Or Epic, the musical.
Huh.
I mean, an adaptation of The Odyssey built entirely on social media that got over 115 million views.
That sounds creatively liberating, but also kind of exhausting. If I'm a small creator, how do I manage that co-creation without just burning out?
The key isn't managing every single input. It's about providing a sturdy scaffolding for them to play in. You give them a sandbox, not a whole house to build.
Okay, so leave some intentional gaps in a character's backstory for them to fill in.
Exactly. That investment, that emotional ownership is what drives engagement way beyond just a casual view.
And what defines the sort of in-group language of this style?
Well, that's the third element, being internet-referential. The content is just layered with inside jokes and memes. It's an insular language.
The language that signals you belong.
Right. If you don't get the Cat cinematic universe, for example, the content is pretty meaningless. But if you do, it's incredibly high-fidelity communication.
It's less about the joke itself and more about the shared cultural history behind it.
Perfectly put. And the last element proves how global that shared history is. Global influence. The appetite for non-local content is, well, it's the norm now.
Post-Gangnam Style era.
Way post. Young audiences are fluent in a wider array of cultures than ever. We saw it with the Korean animated series Alien Stage, or the global takeover of Brazilian funk music.
Okay, so if the new aesthetic is maximalist, co-created, and hyper-referential, we need to know how the platforms are actually handling this. Let's pivot from the content to the strategy. What's the first big change for monetization?
The biggest strategic shift, number one, is toward on-platform conversion. This is so critical.
The link in bio strategy.
It's dying. It is actively dying. Platforms are becoming complete sailed ecosystems.
But that sounds like they're forcing creators to abandon their own websites, which feels like a huge risk for, data ownership and control.
It is a risk, but the reward structure is impossible to ignore. The data shows brands using native social commerce tools like TikTok Shop saw conversions jump by 20 to 40%.
40%, wow.
The platforms reward you with much greater reach for keeping the user right there. So your strategy has to change now. Integrate with those native tools and change your calls to action. No more. Visit our website at Shop Now, Buy Here.
Okay, moving from sales to the algorithm itself, I'm hearing the old rules are becoming irrelevant as viewers get more control.
They are. The next major shift is the challenge of user-controlled feeds. Users are getting this unprecedented power to just tune out or exclude entire categories of content.
Like politics or fitness or...
Exactly. Via preference settings that rolled out in 2025. So if your content is only passively interesting, users can just suppress your entire category.
So your focus has to shift from chasing trends to producing content that viewers actively want to opt into.
Yeah.
You have to make yourself indispensable.
Absolutely. Deliver consistent, intentional value. And this is where diversifying your themes a little bit becomes a defensive move. If your whole brand is one single topic, a viewer can exclude it and you're gone.
Speaking of indispensable, let's talk format. Trend 3 is the comeback of long-form video that feels so counterintuitive.
It's a direct response to social fatigue. People are just exhausted by endless, snackable, empty-calorie content.
They want depth.
They crave depth, high-quality storytelling, real substance. And the data is clear. Long-form videos generate 10 times more total views and 5 times more meaningful comments.
That's a massive behavioral shift. So what's the practical advice for creators who've been grinded on shorts for years?
You need to start experimenting immediately with longer formats. Think 3 to 5 minutes, minimum. Try creating micro-series with a narrative arc. And your priority has to shift from virality to retention.
Retention is king.
Absolutely. Because a 5-minute video that holds 35% of its audience will almost always outperform a 30-second video that holds 40%. The total watch time delivered is just so much greater.
Right, but how do you get discovered in the first place? Especially with this niche maximalist content. That brings us to trend 4, the rise of search engine optimization on social platforms.
Huge groups of people, especially Gen Z, are skipping Google entirely. The stats are just staggering. 64% of Gen Z use TikTok for search. 40% prefer TikTok or Instagram for how-to guides.
So the platforms are now indexing everything. The titles, captions, the actual words spoken in the video.
Every single word. You have to treat every piece of content like an SEO article. Use keywords everywhere. Research platform-specific trending queries. The goal is long-term discoverability, not just the 48-hour algorithm boost.
That focus on long-term value and deep content, it naturally leads to the next shift, which is about who the messenger is. Trend 5. Expert personal brands are replacing generic influencers.
The old model was simple, right? Hire the person with the most followers. That's dead. Brands are now actively seeking credible, specialized experts.
And how do you quantify that? What's the value difference now?
A creator with, say, 50,000 highly engaged followers, who is the undisputed authority in a tight niche like B2B SaaS marketing, is way more valuable than a generic entertainer with 1 million followers.
Because the authority translates directly into trust and sales.
And into much higher rates for partnerships and co-branded products.
This shift toward expertise seems to tie right into the quality reset and the big push for authenticity.
It does. Audiences are rejecting synthetic personalities. Generic virtual influencers are failing because there's no perceived authenticity, no trust. Gen Z social usage is actually flattening because they're tired of empty calories content. Quality has to beat volume now.
So how do you show that authentic connection without, oversharing your entire life?
Authenticity is about relatability, not just transparency. It means showing genuine human traits. A great example is the MMA fighter Chu Sung-hoon. He gained millions of subscribers just by offering this unvarnished, authentic look at his life, like a messy room tour.
Because it was real.
It was real. You have to audit your own content and ask, does this actually teach or inspire or mean something?
But wait, you just said virtual influencers are dying, but the reports also say virtual creators are a permanent archetype? That seems contradictory.
It's a key nuance, and it confuses a lot of people. The generic, flawless virtual model is failing. But using a virtual avatar for expression is permanent.
Like VTubers.
Exactly, like CodeMiko. For some creators, an avatar helps them express themselves more fully or safely. Authenticity is contextual. Think of the anxious Kim Hamzi persona. It's an AI hamster avatar, but the success comes from the creator's own relatable voiceover about work-life balance.
The connection is still human.
The connection is human. The avatar is just the medium.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's zoom in on the specific niche strategies that are really generating revenue, the financial roadmap.
We have to talk about shoppable communities and hyper-specificity. When purchasing decisions get complex, like buying high-end audio gear, viewers rely on experts.
Product fandoms.
Yes. The fragrance community, the appliance repair niche. Creators like Ben's Appliances and Junk provide expert solution-based advice that drives huge commerce.
Because if a creator helps you save $500 fixing your own fridge, you're going to trust their recommendation for the tool you need to do it.
Yeah. Exactly. Authenticity and expertise translate directly into high-value purchases. And this gets amplified when it aligns with the community purpose. Look at the horror gamer Corks Kenshin.
With his manga, right.
Yeah, Monsters We Make. He sold 200,000 copies in the first week. And that wasn't just a product launch. It was supporting a movement for better Black representation in manga.
Passion converts to revenue. Okay, let's talk about the big opportunity in the living room. YouTube now dominates TV watch time,
which has created this hugely lucrative passive content niche. The strategy here is focusing on ultra-long form content, 20 minutes, an hour, sometimes 3 or 4 hours long, that doesn't need to be actively watched.
like history lectures or philosophical debates.
Or long travel guides you can listen to while you're working or driving. The viewer is basically using your content as high-quality background audio.
And that passive consumption racks up massive watch time, which the algorithm loves, and it lets you place ad breaks for high CPMs.
It's an incredibly effective way to monetize time on platform.
Okay, finally, let's talk business architecture. The creator-to-founder pipeline. This sounds like the end goal for monetization in 2026.
It is. The goal should be to build a business, not just chase views. Views are vanity metrics. The successful creators are founders.
And the practical step to get there is what you call the session time hack.
The session time hack,
Yes. Okay, walk us through it, step by step.
It's a funnel built entirely on retention. Step 1. You create short, engaging content or mid-form educational videos. Step 2. You use end screens and links to drive those viewers to one ultra-long video, a complete comprehensive guide.
So you're keeping the user on YouTube for a long session, which the platform rewards.
Massively.
Okay.
Then, step 3. Once that user is invested in your 1 or 2 hour guide, you monetize the solution by selling your own product, a software tool, an online course, whatever. This strategy lets you bypass ad revenue and turn, say, 100,000 niche views a month into $20,000 or more in product revenue.
That's probably the most valuable, actionable takeaway here. So, to summarize the roadmap for 2026, you have to embrace the dense language of creative maximalism.
You have to optimize every single post for search and on-platform sales.
Prioritize depth and quality over just sheer quantity.
And build genuine authority in a hyper-specific niche.
It seems like the future of success isn't about competing with the mainstream at all.
Not at all. It's about leveraging co-creation and specialized knowledge to build a dedicated community that is actively looking for substance. That deep connection, that collective purpose. That's the real currency in 2026.
What stands out to me is that this new era of YouTube just rewards intentionality and expertise above everything else. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time on the Radio Podcast.